Welcome to session number 3 of Yoga Foundations for Inflexible Active Adults over the age of 40. My name is Heather. This is a 5-part series that I have created for those of you who are over the age of 40. You feel like you're inflexible. You want to try yoga, but you feel like you can't do some of the movements. You don't have any clue what's going on. You don't know how to do some of these poses. Maybe you've gone to a yoga class once or twice and you're like, I'm so freaking lost. I don't know what's going on. Or you're somebody that's like, you know what? I've been doing life. I've been doing these things, but I want to bring yoga into my wellness routine. I'm a little bit curious about it. This is for you. This is a 5-part series that I've put together that is leading you up to a 30-minute slow flow style class. We're going to go through some of the different movements in that, what that sequence might look like, some of the different terms, some of the words, some of the phrases that you'll hear at a yoga class if you go to a yoga studio or to a yoga class at your gym. So this is session number 3. You can check out my series on YouTube. I've got a playlist on YouTube, or you can go to inflexible.yogabyheather.com and you can download the handout that we're going through in this series, and you also get the videos emailed directly to you. Okay, totally free. It's here for you. It's again, it's here for those of you that are like, I'm curious about yoga. I might want to bring it into my wellness routine. Or if you're somebody that said, I want to do yoga, but I'm inflexible. This is for you. Okay. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about balance, stability, flexibility, your core muscles, and why training this part of your body is so super important, okay? And then we're going to go over a couple different concepts and skills, and then we'll go over a few more yoga poses that you might see in a traditional, what's called a vinyasa style class, which is a flow. You might see it if you look at a yoga schedule at a studio at your gym, a flow style class, okay? Flow means we're doing breath to movement. We're flowing between the movements, all right? So today we're talking about balance, core stability. So let's talk about why balance and flexibility training matters after the age of 40. So a lot of people come to yoga as a way to train for flexibility, for balance, mobility, even a little bit of strength training. I am certainly one of those people. I came to yoga. I took my very first yoga class at a gym. And I wanted to add it into my fitness routine. Okay. It was, for me, it was like, I am lifting weights. I'm a very active person. And lifting weights shortens your muscles, flexibility, mobility, these kinds of things help to strengthen your joints, but also helps to lengthen your muscles. Okay. And I was 100% that person. Like, I just want to add this into my fitness routine. I know that I need to become more flexible. And as after the age of 40, flexibility, balance training, stability, all this stuff is important at any age. I think it's just something that we need to pay more attention to over the age of 40. I know that there are some of you here that you're in your 20s and 30s. You might be watching this because you're like, I want to know what I should be doing to prepare for my 40s and 50s. You're welcome here too. This is 100% for you too. But as we get a little bit older in life, get into midlife. I mean, if you're 45 years old, think about this. If you're 45 years old and you've been working a desk job since you were 25 years old, that's 20 years of sitting in a desk all day. Okay. So you're sitting in a way that you're tightening up your hip muscles here, your hip flexors here, because you're sitting at a desk. You might be hunched over a keyboard all day, typing at your computer. So you're tightening up the inside of your shoulders here, your chest muscles, your back muscles. You might even experience a little bit of, back pain from just sitting like that all the time. So when we talk about core and balance and strength here, we're talking about building up the muscles around your core. So it's not just like your abs. It's not just that. It's your hip muscles, your low back, even your mid back here. These are the muscles that are going to help you sit upright. Okay. And what these muscles do is these muscles help stabilize your body. Okay. So think about how, as we're getting older in life, one of the skills that we want to be able to keep is the ability to get up off of the floor. Notice I'm sitting on the floor right now because I'm going to show you some yoga poses, but it is an important skill to have as you get older to be able to get up off the floor. Because if you fall, you want to be able to get yourself up. If you want to maintain your independence as you get older, you need to be able to get yourself up off the floor. You need to be able to get yourself up off the toilet, okay? These are important life skills to keep your independence as you get older. We need to be doing these things now so that we have them when we're 90 years old, okay? So balance, flexibility, strength, core strength training helps to get yourself up off the floor, but also can help prevent falls as well. So if you think about, I'm going to tell you a story here. So I broke my tibia and fibula in January of 2023. That's both shin bones, clear through, had to have surgery on my leg. And it was a pretty major surgery. And I had to go through physical therapy. I had to use a walker. I had to use crutches. And then I was on a cane for a little while and eventually was able to walk without any sort of support. I was walking through the airport. I was going on a trip and I was terrified of getting pushed. You know, people, think about it. When you're at an airport, people are like looking around and like they're trying to read signs and they're looking at their phone and they're grabbing for their kids and they're doing 1,000 things, not always paying attention to where they're going. And I was terrified of somebody just literally just bumping into me and I wouldn't be able to catch my balance. Okay. And that a lot of that was from, just my leg muscles had just gotten so weak as a result of the surgery, the injury, and then the surgery. But also I spent a lot of time on the couch just recovering. So I lost a lot of strength in my core. So I had this very real concern of like, okay, I can walk, I can get through the airport, but if somebody bumps into me, I'm not going to catch my balance. That was a terrifying feeling. Okay. And it was not to the point that I didn't go out in public, but I did make decisions based on it. I took a cane with me. I always made sure I was close to the wall. I was doing certain things to make sure, like if I do get bumped into, I can catch myself, okay? My life was sort of revolving around that ability to keep my balance. And that's why I am such a huge advocate for strength training, for mobility training, for flexibility training, for all this stuff, because these are important skills that we need to keep as we get older. And that is keeping our balance, okay? So you want to train these muscles to help you. So as you get older, you don't fall. You don't just fall to the ground. But then also, if you do fall, can you get yourself up off the floor? If you're in a spot where like there's nothing around you, there's nothing to grab onto, can you get yourself up off the floor? All right. So flexibility training is also very important. It does help prevent injuries. It helps prevent, if you're doing certain things and, your muscles get extended for whatever reason, they get pushed to the limits. That flexibility training can also help your body prevent injuries from happening to begin with. Okay. So as you're working on things like balance, stability, control, in your yoga practice, it's important to note that falling out of poses is 100% normal, okay? It is totally normal. Balance is probably one of the things that I still struggle with the most. A lot of it is still just resounding from this injury. It's just a constant day-to-day thing that I'm always working on is my balance. And I also just recently injured my foot. If you watch the first two sessions of this series, I've injured my foot. Trying to maintain balance on one foot can be difficult, okay? So your muscles, as you're doing some of these poses that we're going to go over here in just a little bit, we're going to go over a couple that you'll stand on one foot and you're going to feel your toes are moving around. You like your pinky toes doing this thing and your big toes doing this thing, and you're going to feel the muscles in your feet doing its thing, even into your ankles, your calf muscles, and your shins. Okay, all of those muscles are working together. Your nervous system's just kind of firing them up in order to help you keep your balance. Okay, and that's where we're working on that balance is using those little muscles, little stabilizing muscles. And if you fall out of a pose, that's okay. That's part of the training. That's just part of it. All right. And you're gonna have days where it's like you're on it and you're doing it. And then you're going to have days you're like, I can't do this to save my life. I don't understand why I can't do it. It's okay. Understand that falling out of a pose is 100% normal. All right. So core stability and core strength. So core strength is just how much force, when you talk about strength, it's just how much force can your muscles create, right? Just how much, right? But core stability is that ability of your core. Are we supposed to use words to define the words? But it's the ability of your core to hold your body stable. Okay. So if you think about twisting, you think about bending over and standing back up, sitting upright, having good posture, things like this. Bending and twisting at the same time, that can be very much a challenge for somebody who hasn't done a lot of training on their core work, right? So that core stability is really going to hold your body stable. I'm a big hiker, and I do some pretty long hikes, and so you wear a backpack on your back, and then I've got a belt that goes around my waist that puts some of the weight of the pack onto my hips versus having everything on my shoulders. So what this does is by having the weight on my hips allows my core to really first of all, the core is still keeping my body upright, but I'm using these muscles here to hold the weight of my backpack. And if I didn't have a solid enough core strength, if I didn't have that ability to control my core using my core strength, you might be wobbling all over the place here. You've got extra weight on your back. Is it pulling you way back here? But using that core is really going to help keep you stable. So as you're hiking through the mountains, you're hiking through the forest, I hike through the desert. You've got that you've got that extra weight on the back of your back onto your hips. Your core is what's helping to hold you stable so that as you're walking, you're taking even steps. You're not slipping all over the place. You're not falling all over the place. It's holding you nice and still. Okay. So that's just one example. If you're not a hiker, that's okay too. Your core stability is really what's keeping you from just kind of like falling all over the place here. All right. So it's very important that we work these muscles. Yoga is really going to help to work your core. Your Drishti is using your gaze. So your Drishti is your gaze. We talked about terms in the first session of this series, but your Drishti is where your eyes are. Okay. So when we're in balancing poses, your instructor might cue to focus your gaze to one fixed spot, might talk about your Drishti, might not even use that word and just tell you to look at one spot that's not moving. Okay. And the point for that is that if you keep your eyes on one fixed spot, you can really work to stabilize your body. Okay. Now, those of you maybe in some sort of like motorized sports, maybe ride motorcycles, snowmobiles, boats, that kind of thing. One thing we know about motorized sports is that I'm going to use motorcycle as an example. I used to ride. If you are looking over here, where's your motorcycle going to go? Your motorcycle is going to go over here. All right. Your body's going to do the things it needs to do to get your motorcycle to go over there. Okay. If you're looking forward, if you're looking 25, 50 feet in front of you, that's where your motorcycle is going to go. All right. Same happens here with balance with yoga is wherever you're gazing, that's where your body's going to end up going. Okay. So if you are looking all over the place, you're looking at the person next to you, you're looking in the mirror, you're looking over here at this person over here, you're looking all over the place, your body's going to be like, where am I going? All right. One fixed spot, you're going to be able to hold your body nice and still. Okay. And then using the wall as a prop. So the wall is here. If you go to a yoga studio and you want to be by a wall, it is okay. There are some instructors, there are some studios that they just really advocate not using a wall as a prop. My personal viewpoint is the wall's there, use it. Okay. If it's going to help alleviate some frustration for you, absolutely go ahead and use it. Okay. There's a difference between just leaning up against a wall. When I was working on my balancing postures after I broke my leg, I'm going to show you here. So this is the leg that I broke. So if I was just trying to stand on this leg, just like this, I couldn't do that for the longest time. So I would place my hand right on the wall. I've got my hand just placed right on the wall. Okay. And then over time, what I would do is start to tent my fingers and just put my fingertips on the wall. Okay. So you just got your fingertips on the wall, using it for balance. Okay. And then at some point, kind of just pulling your hand away from the wall, maybe touching it to grab your balance back again, touching it. Okay. Eventually not needing to use the wall anymore. All right. So the wall's a prop. We've talked about yoga props. You can go to shop.yogabyheather.com. You can buy blocks. You can buy bolsters. You can buy straps. You can buy all that stuff. But the wall is 100% a block or a prop as well. Okay. So if you're at a class and the instructor doesn't want you using it, I mean, it's fine, whatever. But if you're doing yoga with me, you can use the wall. All right. So, so balance, core, stability. Some of these poses are really going to help build this core strength so that we have stability. All right. We talked about twisting. We talked about bending and standing back up. Okay. Even some of that lateral bending as well. Okay. So you got the twisting, forward and back, lateral bending. All right. So you're going to work on building that core stability to help support your spine, help support your body, keeps your body upright. Okay. All right. So let's go over a couple of different poses. The first one is tree pose. So tree pose is a balancing posture. There's a couple of different ways to do it. So hand placement, a couple different ways that you can do hand placement as well. I'm going to start with this. What I like to do is if you press your palms together, I mean, we're not like in church here where we've got our palms together here. Like we're in yoga, pressing your palms together. Like elbows come out wide. Like you can see, maybe you can see it. I don't know. Maybe you can see my muscles in my arms, my shoulders are flexing as I'm pressing my arms together, pressing my palms together. All right. You might even feel it in your pec muscles. Okay. That's what I mean. That's going to help with balance and stability and control. All right. So if you're like, I'm feeling a little frustrated with balancing, pressing, we're not just doing this here. Pressing is going to help with that balance, stability, control. Okay. So tree pose, you bring your feet together. You press down into one leg. We're going to start here with my left leg. So you're going to press down. And what I mean by press down is that left leg is nice and strong. If you lift your left kneecap, use this quad muscle here to lift your left kneecap. That's really going to engage all the muscles in your leg. Okay. Palms come together at your heart center, your chest bone. Your heart center is right here in your chest bone. Press your palms together. Okay. Kick your right knee open. So your right toes are going to point off to the side. Bring your right heel in towards your left ankle. Okay. So if you see it from the side here, my right hip is externally rotated. Okay. So we're opening it up. All right. So open up your right hip. Heel comes to your ankle. Palms can come here at heart center. All right. So you can hold this pose right here. I'm using my right toes as a kickstand. You can see it here that they're touching the ground. All right. For a little bit more of a challenge, I might lift my toes up off the ground. Okay. How long can I hold them up? It just depends on the day, right? My drishti is in one focus spot. I'm looking at my camera right now. My camera's not moving. Okay. You might find a spot. A lot of yoga mats, this one does not, but a lot of yoga mats will have like a dot at the top of the yoga mat. Some of the yoga towels will have that as well. That is something for you to look at. Okay. Sometimes what I like to do is if I'm looking beyond my yoga mat, there might be like if somebody's in front of me, like maybe their towel, maybe the corner of their yoga mat, something that's just not moving. You can find anything. It could be a little spot on the ground. There's like a crumb on the ground, whatever it might be. Okay. So gaze comes to one fixed spot. Press down into your left leg, kick your right heel open. Right heel comes in towards your left ankle. Press your palms together, heart center. You might lift your right toes up off your mat for a little bit more of that balance. Okay. Now, if you feel strong, you feel good. Your left leg is the tree trunk. It's a good solid foundation. You might bring your hands down to your hips. You might grow your tree by raising your palms up high to the sky. Okay. Sometimes we like to say billow your tree. Your tree billows in the wind. Okay. You can do this. This just really helps challenge your balance, your stability, your control. You could even close your eyes here. You could gaze up towards the sky. A lot of different ways here you could challenge yourself. Okay. So there's a couple things you can do with your arms. Now your feet, you're feeling like, this is pretty good. I'm feeling all right here. Feeling good. You can bring the bottom of your foot to your shin. Okay. So now notice how my leg is not just kind of like, just dangling here. I'm actively opening up my hip with my knee. Okay. So I'm actively pressing my knee back behind me. All right. Look at it from the side here. It's not like this. Like my knee is not at a 45-degree angle here. I am actively opening up my hip by drawing my knee back behind me. Okay, I'm really trying to press it back behind me. All right, and notice how I just use the wall as a prop. It's okay. Okay, so same thing here. You could bring your hand to heart center. Bring your right foot in towards your shin. You could even bring it in towards your thigh. You could bring it there as well. Again, actively opening up your knee. Now, what you do not want to do is you don't want to take your foot and press it into your knee joint. You're going to read all sorts of conflicting information about that. I do not tell people to put their foot on their knee joint because I'm not a knee expert. I am not even a physician. But I've read a lot about the knee. The knee is a very delicate joint. We just don't need to be putting unnecessary force on it. Okay. There's some people that are like, there's no reason you can't put it there. Like, not in my class. Okay. We're going to protect our knees. Okay. My knees sound like Rice Krispies. I'm going to do everything I can to keep them nice and healthy. All right. So a lot of different options that you can try it here. Okay. Hands can come to heart center, to your hips, up overhead. They can billow in the wind. A lot of different options. Options for your toes. You can bring your heel in towards your ankle, your shin, your inner thigh. You can do that as well. Okay. So that is tree pose. So what you would do in a yoga class, you would do that on one leg and then you would do it on the other. Okay. So one thing you're going to notice about balancing poses or any kind of poses that you do on one side and then you turn around and do it on the other side, things are going to feel different. One is not good. One is not bad. They're just different. All right. That's part of yoga, is just observing that. Just noticing it is different. Your body has had injuries. Your body has had illnesses. Maybe your body's gone through some sort of trauma. Maybe your body has given birth. Like, there's a lot of things that can contribute to your body being asymmetrical. It might look symmetrical. We have 2 arms, 2 legs, maybe. Maybe some of you don't. That's okay. There's just, your body might look symmetrical. That's my point here, is your body might look symmetrical, but it's not always symmetrical. There's stuff going on in your body. It's okay. So if you're doing a tree pose on this side and you're just like, I can't seem to hold it today, but this side, you're like, I got it. It's good. It's just part of it. Okay. The other thing is I've got a squishy gym floor here because I like the white. It looks good on my YouTube videos. But sometimes doing some of the balancing poses are a little bit easier on harder floors. Okay. We got the squishy floor that can affect balance as well. So pay attention to also, if you're practicing balancing poses, just pay attention to what kind of floor you're on. Again, we're just observing, just noticing. Part of yoga. Nothing's good, nothing's bad. It just is. Okay. So that's tree pose, chair pose, chair pose. Everybody loves chair pose. Everybody likes to give chair pose such a hard time. It's not that big of a deal. It's a hard pose, but it's good. Okay. Chair pose is like you're sitting down in a chair. So when I talk about like longevity, maintaining your independence as you get older, one of those things is getting yourself up off of a toilet. All right. Now your pants are down, you're sitting down on a toilet, and you don't want to have to be screaming to get somebody to come help you. All right. And unfortunately, there's people that are in that kind of a situation, and I'm just very thankful that they have somebody to help them. Okay. But one thing that we can do to help maintain our own independence is to be able to get up and down off the toilet. All right. So think about what I'm going to tell you is think about like when you're just sitting down in a chair, your office chair, your couch, anywhere, sitting down. When you're sitting down, are you just plopping down? Are you just plopping your muscles down? Or are you slowly sitting your butt down onto your chair? You're slowly sitting down onto the toilet. You're not just plopping down and letting gravity do the work. Okay. That's what we're going to focus on here in chair. So Your feet are hips width distance apart. So your feet are underneath your hip bones, not underneath the fleshy part of your hips. Okay, so I've got a little extra flex here in my hips. So my feet aren't aligned with the fleshy part of my hips. They're aligned with my hip bones, okay? If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, what you can do is you can bring your big toes together. Your ankles are spread apart just a little bit back behind you, okay? So you can see that view there, all right? So feet are hips width distance, or bring your big toes together. Now, same thing here with tree pose. You got a couple different options for your hands. I'm gonna cue it first at heart center, okay? Pressing together, not just here, pressing them together, okay? And then set your hips back, bend your knees as though you're sitting down into a chair, okay? So, couple things here. Now, my body weight is pressed back onto my heels. As I'm doing this, the body weight's on, so I could like literally do this with my toes. See if you can you see that? Can you see that? I can wiggle my toes here. All right, you can wiggle your toes. Now, notice my low back, I'm not arched like this, okay? So if I were standing, I'm not like this. I don't have this like big wide opening right here, okay? You're gonna bring your ribs down into your pelvis. I always call it the movement. All right. So you're engaging your core, right? So you're going to do that in your chair. So you're going to sit back down in your chair, send your hips back, bend your knees. Your back is not arched like this. Bring your rib bones into your pelvis. So your instructor, you might hear your instructor say like, tuck your tailbone. Like, what the heck does it mean to tuck your tailbone? That's what he or she means. Bring your ribs into your pelvis. Okay, so it's like this. All right, so I have a nice flat back. Nice flat back. We talk a little bit about halfway lift, flat back. We got a flat back here as well, okay? So couple things you can do here. Hands are right here at heart center. You can keep them here. You can bring them to your waist. You can reach them up and overhead. You might even reach your bicep up towards your ears, okay? I'm a little sore in shoulders this morning, shoulders and arms. Some people like to reach their palms forward. Reach your palms forward. Retract your shoulder bones back behind you, your shoulder blades back behind you, okay? And then you'll stand back up. All right, so slow and controlled sitting down. Slow and controlled standing back up. Couple ways that you could challenge yourself here if you would like. Set your hips down a little bit lower. Can you bring your hips down a little bit lower? You might come up onto one heel. I have an injured foot right now, so I had to bring myself up just a little bit, honoring where my body is. You could come up onto one heel, come up onto both heels. Sorry, both toes, lift both heels. You could do that as well. All right, that's chair. There's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with chair. This is foundations. Okay, so you'll probably see chair pose in a yoga class. As you're doing chair pose, I want you to think, sitting down onto the toilet, standing back up off the toilet. Nice and strong core, nice and strong legs, okay? Warrior 3, we talked about some of the other warrior poses in session 2. I specifically put Warrior 3 here because it is a balancing posture. Warrior 3, let me show you from the side here. So Warrior 3, my feet are hips width distance apart. I like to start at heart center. Again, balance, stability, control, hands at heart center. Press them together, okay? So hands at heart center. I'm much like with tree, you press down into one leg. So I'm going to start with my left leg. So I'm pressing down into the earth with my left leg, lifting my left kneecap with my quad to really engage all the muscles in my left leg, okay? So with Warrior 3, this is a hinging motion. So you will hinge forward, sending the crown of your head towards whatever's in front of you. I have a closet door here, so your gaze is going to come down in front of you, so down towards the earth. You'll keep your right toes, in this case, right toes are pointing down towards your mat. This keeps your hips square, okay? So notice how my right toes are pressed down towards my mat. They're not open like this. This is a different posture. okay? Where my hip is externally rotated, it's opened up here. So you're going to rotate your toes down towards your mat. That'll keep your hips square with the ground. All right. So Warriors 3, it's a hinging motion. If you lift weights, we do hinging motions with deadlifts, right? So it's very similar to a single leg deadlift if you're familiar with weightlifting. Okay. So Warrior 3, hands, same options, heart center, hips, reach them forward in front of you, biceps to your ears. You can even reach back behind you if you would like. Okay. Couple different options there. So that's Warrior 3. That is a pose that you will do on one side and then the other. Going to be different on both sides. That's all right. Okay, so what do we got next is boat pose. Boat pose, a lot of different ways we can do boat pose. I'm going to show you what you'll generally see in a yoga class. So this is a seated pose, a seated posture. You'll do glutes are on your mat. Feet come out in front of you. Bottoms of your feet are down onto your mat. So what I like to do is right here, balance, stability, control. Balance, stability, control. Hands at heart center. Your spine is long, so you're not hunched down like this, okay? Your spine is long. Lift up your heart, all right? So you're lifting up your shoulders, lifting up your gaze in front of you. Okay, Drishti's on one fixed spot. You'll draw your right toes up. Notice how my toes are at the same height as my knee, okay? Same height as my knee. So you draw your right toes up and then your left, all right? Boat pose, press your palms together, more balance, stability, more control. Reach your palms forward for a little bit more of a challenge. You might even straighten both legs for even more of a challenge, okay? So boat pose, a couple different ways that you can try that out. Side angle is another standing pose. Side angle and triangle pose are more standing poses that we can work on core, balance, stability here, okay? So side angle, your toes are going to be placed like they would be in Warrior 2. We talked about the warrior poses, a couple of the warrior poses in session 2. We've got Warrior 2 here. Okay, this is Warrior 2. Side angle, legs are going to stay the same. So my front knee is stacked over my ankle. My back foot is angled and my toes are angled in, okay? So this opens up my right hip here. And the weight of my body is evenly spread between both feet, all right? So if you can imagine trying to rip your yoga mat apart. Okay, so I'm not leaning forward here into my front foot. My body weight's not back here on my back foot. It's even keel. Pressing my mat apart. Okay, so if you're here in Warrior 2, side angle, your front palm will either come down, you can bring your forearm down onto your thigh. This is more of a supported side angle here. Right palm reaches up and overhead. All right, so I'm just reaching up towards the sky. You can't see my palm here, but it's just reaching up towards the sky. Okay. Your gaze, your drishti, comes down towards your bottom foot. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, your gaze will come up towards your fingertips. Okay, you're going to gaze up towards the sky. Now, what I am not doing, I'm not placing all of my body weight in my left forearm, in my front forearm here. Okay, it's just there. You can see I'm moving it. It's just there. All right, you're not dumping down into it. So I've created some space between my torso here and my thigh. Just resting my forearm here. My body weight's not in it. So I'm using my core muscles, my oblique muscles, to engage and keep my body stable, okay? So you're in Warrior 2. Left forearm comes down to your left thigh. Right arm reaches up and overhead. Gaze comes down towards your bottom toes or up towards your top fingertips. If you want a little bit more in this oblique right here, your left forearm can open up. You can bring your shin or your palm down into your shin into a side angle. You can do that as well. You could even reach your palms forward in front of you. That really gets those oblique muscle. All right. So that side angle, that is another pose you'll do on either side. Triangle pose. So I'm going to start here from the same foot positioning that we were just in. Front knee is bent. Left leg is long, or back leg is long. Okay. Let's just say here I'm in warrior 2. All right. Gaze comes over your front fingertips, your drishtis over your front fingertips. Triangle pose. Okay. Straighten into your front leg. So my left leg straightens. All right. So my hips are going back towards the wall behind me. I have a wall back here. Okay. Okay. So warrior 2, straighten your front leg, hips go back behind you. And then I like to say tick-tock your arms north and south. So you reach your left fingers, in this case, my left fingers, my bottom fingers, down towards the mat. They don't need to touch. They do not need to touch. Okay, triangles don't have hands anyways. They're not going to touch. They don't have to touch the ground. All right. So right palm reaches up and overhead. Your top palm reaches up and overhead. Left palm, my bottom palm reaches down towards the mat. Does not need to touch. You could, if you wanted to, place a block right here. If you wanted to, you could place a block right here. Okay. What you don't want to do is just dump your body weight down into your block. Okay. You're using your core muscles here to stabilize your body. So you might just use it for a little extra balance. Okay. You've got your triangle pose. Same with side angle. You could bring your bottom palm and your right palm overhead to engage those obliques a little bit more. So we've got side angle, which is where the front knee is bent. And then you've got triangle, which is where the front knee is straight. Okay. Side angle, triangle. Ta-da. Looky-loo. All right. So balance is a skill. It's not a talent. You might think that people are very talented when it comes to their balance, their flexibility, their mobility. It is a skill. It is something you can work on. It's something you can improve. It's something that needs to be worked on regularly. It's not like, we say this about going to the gym, about playing any kind of sport. Like if you want to get better at something, you've got to practice it. You've got to keep doing it. It's not a do it once and you're good. You want to keep doing it. Your body will lose it without practice, and it will come back fast if you train consistently. So if you're doing this work consistently, it will come back. All right. Like I said, it might look different. I know my body certainly looks different, feels different than it did 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. Very different. But part of yoga is setting your ego aside, honoring your body, and having gratitude for a body that is allowing you to do this. It's even allowing you to go through this class that I've got for you here on YouTube. Just something that you're like, I have a body that will at least let me try doing some of this stuff. All right. That's part of yoga. Just having that gratitude for, thanking your body for all the wonderful things that it does for you. So that is day 3, balance, core, stability, flexibility. We reviewed a couple different poses that really help you work on your core. On day 4, we're going to talk about mobility and active recovery. We'll talk about, again, yoga as a performance tool. It's not just stretching. And so we'll talk about some more concepts and skills, and we'll cover a couple more poses. All right. So that will be day 4. So if you would like to grab this handout, Yoga Foundations for Inflexible Active Adults over the age of 40, go to inflexible.yogabyheather.com. Put your name, your email in there. You'll get the handout sent to you. You'll get the videos sent to you as well. You can check out the videos here on YouTube. And if you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and send this to somebody who you think might find it helpful. And make sure to check out, if you haven't already, check out sessions 1 and 2, as these concepts are, we do build upon the other. So I hope you found it helpful. I'll see you in the next session.